Hello and welcome to the Bhopal Design Festival curated by the Jagan School of Design, Jagan Lakecity University, Bhopal. I am Shreyam Ghoshal and in conversation with Vanjul Jain ma'am, and so giving a short brief of her, she's an award-winning designer, leader with expertise in innovation, user experience, strategic planning and team management with a career spanning around e-commerce and IT. She excels in driving product innovation and business growth. She is also a design mentor. So welcome and thank you so much for being here. So we'll start with the questions.
Sure.
Okay. So could you describe your journey from being a design student to becoming a design lead at the company?
So I basically started back in 2009 and 8 and 9 when I was studying. So there was a different era and different environment altogether when we were there. And I started as a fashion student. And I was always keen into design from very beginning of my life. Like when I was a child, I used to do a lot of sketching design, and I was very much interested also in doing clay and using those bread and all that stuff to make we used to put it all and Fevicol and all that bread and mixing all that and creating something out of it. So those were in school times, and then I went through the entire fashion thing, and once I was done, I also opened my fashion studio while I was studying in my undergrad.
Okay.
So that was also an experience where I also implemented digital studio. That's where the interest came in.
Okay.
Right. So I had my own digital studio as well, along with the fashion studio.
Okay.
Right. So I started working on branding, collaterals, and there were applications and all things were not there at the moment. Right.
Okay.
So we were having more of the websites and all that and logos. Basically around collaterals, brand collaterals and branding. That was major area for me back then.
Okay.
And then I planned to go for my master's. So I went to NIFT and I did my management, like fashion management over there. And after that, I also learned a lot of leadership skills, right?
Okay.
And I wanted to implement the entire journey into something digital because I got interested into digital with my studio.
Oh.
And I understood that digital world is going to be the future. So I wanted to be a part of that early on.
Oh.
So I started with Snapdeal as my first company. That was e-commerce.
Okay.
And it's been a lot of companies I have changed so far in my career, and every company has given a different kind of experience. So I've learned a lot through these experiences because from the era where UX word did not even exist to the place where we are standing today. So where we are having UX not only related to design and users but also business. So we are talking about business strategy today as a part of user experience.
Yes.
So that's where I'm leading now. I've been leading a team of a few people, and then as well as I've been a person who has got a chance to lead with the client.
Okay.
So my clientele, they are leaders, and I'm leading with them for the clientele. So that's another thing that I've got to do now because of the strategic thinking that I have today. So that's where I say, I mean, if you talk about user experience, you cannot only talk about users, but you have to talk about business and strategy as well.
Definitely.
That's where we are heading in the future.
Exactly. So like hearing a story, I just went down the memory lane, like we all start from the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, then moving on. So like you have been in this industry for quite some time. So what are the challenges that you have faced in the industry?
It's hot here. So basically the challenges majorly are coming from the stakeholders. You find some challenge coming from the development team and collaboration. So there are few challenges that has been faced, and how you work with them is important. So majorly when we talk about stakeholders, we face a problem of making them understand the need of user research, the need of strategy in design. Because what happens with most of the stakeholders is that they believe that why should we spend more money in research? Why should we go for, we just need a website. We have the product, we have everything. We just need a website. Why can't you just create and make it? Exactly. That would solve our purpose. But no, that doesn't. You have to do a lot of user research to understand how to even sell to the users. So that is a part of marketing. That is a part of understanding the users and as well as business. I mean, how you can put both of them together and then sell the product. So that's where research is required. So that is one of the major challenges that we face, and we have to prove it. We have to give a lot of ROI examples to them. We have to provide them what is your return on investment when you do research. So that's all about the metrics, and it's very difficult when it comes to UX design to provide the metrics, right? So you have to work around the KPIs, and that's where you require usability testing. But everything requires money, which client doesn't want to spend. So that's where we have challenges in making them understand the value of user experience as a whole. And that is one of that. Then there are small challenges with development teams and all that, they are not able to understand. There are some collaboration issues, but those are very small issues. Major comes from the stakeholder.
Okay.
Because they look at business. They will look at business value.
Exactly.
Simple
they don't
as
want
that.
to spend money on research.
Yeah. So at the same time, that is up to us how we tell them the business value of design. So that's our responsibility at the end of the day.
Definitely understood. Moving on. Then there are a lot of trends in UX industry. So how do you keep yourself updated with them, and how do you put them in your work?
So basically, if you talk about design world, especially UX design, you will see there's something happening every year or every 6 months. You'll see something new coming in, a new trend coming in always. So first of all, it's very important to be aware of those. You have to be very conscious about learning them when it's coming to you online or anywhere. If you talk about generative AI today, Gen AI is taking up a lot of things.
Yes.
Figma has come up with their Gen AI now. They have launched it. Finally, it's there for us.
Yes.
So you can use it. So the idea is not only about knowing about them, about learning them and then implementing them. Right?
Yes.
So now if you have Gen AI, for example, there are senior designers to us who are still thinking Nokia-like. They don't want to go beyond their previous thinking. So what happens there is that they become redundant in their styles.
Exactly.
That is the reason you have to be upgraded. And now generative AI is there. If you are still designing in the old types, you're still putting those scales and making the boxes and everything, then you are not leveraging what you have in your hands.
Exactly.
So the idea is to leverage generate. Don't become slaves to it, but leverage that into your work and make your work easier and duration smaller.
Exactly.
The idea is to deliver fast.
Definitely.
But not become habitual to generate, because your thinking should not stop. Your thinking should, it should run the show, not the generative AI. That's the only difference.
Definitely. I completely agree to it. And for the last question, basically, I would ask for any advice or suggestion you would like to give to people who have just entered the design industry. So, yeah.
So if I talk about the design industry right now, the biggest suggestion I would try to give is first, be very upgraded about the generative AI which is coming in, learn about it and make it very frequent into your system.
Okay.
Whatever you are doing, whatever you are designing, whatever projects you are doing, you try to implement those.
Okay.
One thing is that, that is about generative AI. That is about the latest trend that is going on. Other thing is put business into your thinking.
Okay.
It's very important to think business today, because if I talk about the industry, right? The industry or the hiring managers, the HRs or anything which is happening in corporate, right now they are looking for people who are not only coming from backgrounds who are just designing the websites. They don't need that. They don't need somebody doing just the research.
Exactly.
Even research can be done by people who are old, but business strategy, that's important. How you are using UX to increase business.
Okay.
How your website is getting more business.
Yes.
So you have to think about those business strategies and talk to the stakeholders in terms of their brand positioning, how they want to position their product, how they want to position their brand. Because with this, you will know what experience to give. Not only to the users, but also to business. So it's now today, it's not only about users that you're giving every empathy to the users, but you have to empathize with business too.
Okay.
So that's where business strategy is required. So that is where I think you should put your heads to when you're working on any project as well.
Understood. It has been an insightful conversation talking to you, and
thank
you so much for being here. With this, we are going to wrap up this session. I am Shreyam Ghoshal with my camera person Manya, Lakecity Live, Bhopal.